responsibilities are given to persons to actually create different sections of the web page. That's very, very critical. Alright, so in essence, what is required is that we simply work together in creating the Webquest. I will add in some examples that you can look at. There are persons who wish to use PowerPoint. You can use PowerPoint if you wish. But for the time being, basically what we are going to do, we're going to use Zoonal for persons who want to explore the possibility of using PowerPoint. Fine, you can, but I would suggest you use Zoonal because it's easier. And so I'll provide all the necessary information for you. And so if there are any examples or any questions that you really want to ask, remember you're free to point those questions to me. Alright, so enjoy creating your Webquest and providing all the resources, including some Jamaican Webquest. And remember, you can go to Zoonal, go to browse, search, go in that search area, type in whatever you want to type, any topic, search for the Webquest, look at what they have, and try to get some ideas that you can work with. Alright? Enjoy creating your Webquest. Alright? Now, as the name suggests, as we look at the name, we can actually have an indication as to what the name represents. Web and quest joined together. So actually, we would get a preview as to what Webquests are if we're thinking. Alright? So doing some inquiry, doing some search on the internet. They're going to have the students interacting with the internet to learn on their own with our guidance. Designer Webquest is an opportunity for teachers to give the students a chance to do some research, to learn on their own, to practice real constructivist learning, to practice independent learning, to develop problem-solving skills, project-based learning. Alright, these are key terms that are associated with Webquest. And so it's an opportunity to give the students a chance to work on their own. But let me explain that the teacher must design the Webquest so that the students will work in groups to carry out the activities. Please note. Alright? So what is happening is that the teacher will design this resource, the students will now have the resource, and actually they would now go and work on their own to develop their knowledge base on a topic. Alright? So, what's a Webquest? Pretty much a Webquest, as it is pointed out there, is an inquiry-oriented activity in which some or all of the information that students interact with comes from resources on the web. So the students are going to be finding information on the web. Alright, so bear that in mind. Alright? So, there are several components of a Webquest. Alright? And if we should look on the board what those very important components, construction of knowledge. And so give the students a chance to organize, synthesize, interpret, explain, evaluate information, and convert it into knowledge. So the students are utilizing some very important skills as they construct knowledge. These are very, very important skills. Organizing, synthesizing, interpreting, explaining, evaluating. Right? These skills are important to their whole development. Then the next component is it is a discipline inquiry. So the students get a chance to collect information via inquiry. They do in-depth understanding, based on exploring issues and relationships. And they get a chance to communicate with their peers in a deep way. Alright? The next component is that it's value beyond school. The Webquest will require the students to work outside of class. Right? So, in a sense, it is beyond school. So it's problem connected to the world, linking learning to the real world. Alright? So that's what we're getting them a chance to do. Because in essence, the Webquest should begin with a scenario where the students place themselves in this problem and they find solutions. Alright? It also has implicit view of students. students as individuals. Alright, so the students get a chance, although they're working in groups, to be individuals. They're going to carry out individual roles. Now there are two types of Webquests. There's a short-term Webquest that can be designed in 1 to 3 periods. And the instructional goal is knowledge acquisition and integration. Deals with acquiring just some source of information, some amount of information. So there's a short-term Webquest. But the Webquest that we'll be concentrating on is a long-term, designed to take between 1 week and a month. So we're going to choose a topic that the students will actually do this inquiry within a week or a month. Alright? And the instructional goal is extending and refining knowledge. So they get a chance to really expand their knowledge base. And that's what we're trying to actually achieve. It deals with deeply analyzing a body of knowledge. So the students will be doing analysis, transforming the knowledge, demonstrating their understanding in terms of how they present this knowledge. So they're going to present it in a form that will illustrate their understanding of the information that they have studied. Alright? Now when they're designing the Webquest, there are a number of components. Alright? And the components are listed there. There's an introduction, there's a task, process, information sources, evaluation, conclusion. We're going through these steps briefly, and so you need to pay close attention to the various components as we go along. Because in your design, we must ensure that we follow the designs as they're given. So the introduction. It should give the students an orientation to what is coming. Should raise their interest in the upcoming activity. The Webquest that you design must involve a scenario. So there is a problem, and the students are required to find a solution. Bear in mind that the topic that you choose must have that kind of bearing towards inquiry. You can't choose a topic that will not allow the students to exercise the level of inquiry. That's very, very important. Alright? So the introduction, and there are some examples that I will be provided, and please take time out to look at these examples, the Jamaican examples, and see how the teachers were very creative in designing these introductions to design their work. It's very, very important. Alright? Good. So, the task. Now the task should describe what the learners would have done at the end of the Webquest. What I generally say to students who are designing Webquest here, think about the curriculum. What aspect of the curriculum will the students be covering as they design, as they go through the Webquest? That is very important. So, highlight the sections of the curriculum that the students will be focusing on in your task. Alright? Then we have the process. The process should provide clear steps in terms of what it is that the students are required to do. During the process, it's very important that we add the tasks of the students. And those tasks must be clearly defined. The group activities must be expertly designed so the students can work on their own without having problems. And we're going to look at some of those examples. Alright? So, clear steps. Let the learners know the process to follow and how to accomplish the task. Provide advice for handling certain tasks. Alright? At the process, you're also required to provide the resources. So what are the websites that the students will require to accomplish the task? All of these sites must be listed, given in the process. Every single web page, every piece of information that the students require to design the Webquest must be listed in the process. Alright? So we set the sources as I've indicated. List the web pages. Alright? You should also include non-web resources. Let's say textbooks. We could. You could also encourage them to conduct an interview with someone. Those are other sources that you could use. Alright? So textbooks, journals, interviews, these are other sources that could be important. Alright? All sources may not be required, but give the students a wide range of resources to choose from so that they are comfortable doing their inquiry. It is not an activity for the students to go and find the resources. As a teacher designing the Webquest, you should identify the relevant resources required and provide them at the process. Then we have the evaluation. Evaluation should provide the clear criteria that we're using to evaluate, to judge the students' work. We generally use rubrics, right? And rubrics, there are many rubrics that are on the internet. You don't need to create a rubric. What I would suggest you do is that you find a rubric that is most appropriate to your Webquest, and then you can customize it. You can change it to suit your own needs. If you go to this website that is listed there, rubystar4teachers.org, it will provide you with as many rubrics as you want. And these rubrics are very important. Alright? So do a research, go to rubystar.com, look at the different kinds of rubrics that are there and use them. And the conclusion should bring a closure to the Webquest and should remind the learners of what they have learned. Should encourage them to extend their experience. And then this page provides you with some websites that you can go to access more information on Webquest. Alright, that's very, very important. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take you to the whole process of how do you now create Webquest. Alright, that's very important. So to create Webquest, you're going to use a specific website. And that website is zonal.com. Right? Zonal.com. So you're going to go to your web browser and you're going to type in your address area zonal.com. Right? And once you type zonal.com, you're going to get to this page. You're going to get to the page where, and you're going to select the registration section. And so you're going to create an account and you're going to register for free. So you're going to identify a username and a password. Alright? Those persons who are already members, you can log in. If you're not a new member, if you're not an existing member, then you need to sign up. Alright? So you're going to create an account. Things you need to create an account: you need to know your name, your gender, your country. You use a unique name, a secure password, and email address. And you're used to using these pieces of information. So once you click on creating an account, this is the information required. So remember, you need your name, gender, country, email, username, password. And I encourage you to write down this information as you go along so that you can always access. Alright? So once you have selected those pieces of information, you will get the note that your registration is successful and you can now log in to the Resource Creator page. Alright? And so once you add the information and you press on the login button, you are able to log in and you will get to this page, Create Webquest. Alright? And once you click on Create a New Webquest, it's going to take you to this page. Create a Webquest from scratch. Create a new Webquest from scratch. This button you're going to press on. Once you press on that button, first thing you'll be allowed to do is to type or enter the title of your Webquest. So you're going to select a topic. Alright? I generally suggest to some students that you can actually use a title from a popular subject area. For some persons in PowerPoint that you have created if you wish to use that. But find an exciting topic. Alright? So once you have selected your topic, you get a chance to add other information. Alright? So you will enter the additional information that is required, and you will get to this page where you will now have the title, the first page of your Webquest, which is a title page. So you should have, and you're going to be required to add an image, you should have your title, you should have your description. So tell what the Webquest is about. Grade level, please add those, make sure you add those. Please add content right here and add those. Description, tell what the Webquest is about. The grade level, please indicate what grade level you are targeting. Curriculum, so what topic area. Keywords, what are the keywords that will come up in your Webquest? And you click here to update. Alright? And please add every page of your Webquest should have an image. And that image should be related to your topic. Alright? Please know that. That's very, very critical. Alright? What I will suggest, as you go along, you have an opportunity to add resources to the page. So if there is, for example, a video that you want to add at the beginning of your Webquest to stimulate your students' interest, you could add your video. These little buttons here allow you to add various resources to your Webquest as you go along. So you would have created your title page. Alright? So once you've created your title page, the next step is to click on your introduction. We're going to go to the introduction. Alright? So once you click on your introduction, it allows you to now type your introduction and add resources as you go along. Alright, that's very, very important. So once you click on each of these buttons, you are able to add the various resources that are required for each page. Alright? And once you're finished, you are required to publish your Webquest using that button. Alright? So once you publish your Webquest, it is now on the internet. So remember, just want to go back. For each page, you click on tab here and you will get a chance to create that page. The good thing about Zonal is that when you click on each of these pages for the first time, you will get a note that reminds you of what is required on each page. Right? So once you click on each of these buttons, there's a little note that is there on the page itself that provides you the necessary information as to what should be inserted on each page as you go along. When you go to the section on evaluation, remember, it's a rubric. You get a chance to add a rubric, or you can update the rubric that is there to add your own information. Conclusion page, you add the information as required, as I said earlier. The teacher page, this page is important. This page is the page that teachers will access to look at your Webquest to see if it is, suited for them. So write some information about the Webquest, targeting teachers, telling teachers what the Webquest is about, so that they can look at it and possibly they can find use of your Webquest. Some of you might end up finding persons contacting you about the use of their Webquest, and you can also gain some money from it if that's the case, right? So it could be a way of earning some cash if your Webquest is that good. About authors, now this is where you're going to add your information, and this activity is done in groups, so the persons in the various groups, names will be here. Alright? Just want to indicate that as you in creating the Webquest, what you're going to do for me in creating the Webquest, when you on the Webquest main page, there is the home page. You can click on the home page, alright, and that tells you. Browse allows you to look at existing Webquests, and I would suggest you go to browse, and there's a search section that you can click on. Search for a Webquest. If you're interested in designing a Webquest, a topic, go and search on Zonal and see if there's a similar Webquest that you could look at and get some assistance. Get some you find some ideas here that you could work with, right? Also the help section. Once you click on the help section, right, and as part of this toolbar, it's not here, but it's a part of the main toolbar here. The help section will give you all the information about Webquest, how you create it, what is there, and everything else. Plus, I'll be providing you with additional resources to create your Webquest. Examples, plus some Word documents and other PowerPoint documents that you can go through, and you're going to create your Webquest. Now what I would suggest, the Webquest will be done in groups. Now remember, to create a Webquest you need to have an email address. What I will suggest is that in groups of maximum of 5 persons, no more than 5 persons in any one group. 4 is ideal, but no more than 5. Each person must have a role to play. So to begin the process, you're going to create a new email address, and that email address should be for everybody. So one person create that new email address and give the information to everybody. That is a username and password. That email address will be used to create the Webquest for the activity. It's a group activity, so everybody needs to have the same email address to work on the Webquest. Please understand. Let me go again. You will require a single email address for each person in the group to create the Webquest. So all that is needed is one person in the group. Just go to Yahoo or Gmail, Hotmail, wherever. Create a new email address. Use that email address to begin the Webquest. And then provide the username and password to everybody in the group. Now one person in the group will do the introduction. One will do the task. One will do the process. One will do the evaluation. Right? And then the 5th person would work with everybody else. Now what I will suggest is that the group comes together and work out the details of the Webquest. I don't want to have a situation where one person, everybody goes on their own and try to create it. It won't work that way. It only works when everybody joins together and decide that this is what we're about to do, and then